There is lots more where they came from. Just to give you all who've logged in right now and who already know us and have been a part of our journey, just to give you an idea of what SFA really is. SFA is India's first professional inter-school multi-sporting platform. If I break this down, it's basically first of its kind organization which has revolutionized the way India plays inter-school sports and soon inter-college as well. That's coming up. We are basically creating an ecosystem where the next generation of athletes will come from and eventually represent India. SFA provides young Indian players a sporting environment comparable to that which is experienced by international athletes. And that's why when you look at our venues, when you look at the infrastructure of our championships, you can get a sense of that level that we're trying to achieve. In short, we're trying to create and build champions who will go ahead and represent India at the international level in the years to come. Now, quickly, let me give you some numbers before we really get on and start talking to our lovely panelists. Our journey of Sports for All so far has been incredible. Of course, with your support, with the thousands and thousands of athletes who've come and been a part of our journey. Just to give you a small, idea of what we are and where we are. 5 years, 2 cities, Hyderabad and Mumbai, 8 championships, 19 venues, more than 1 lakh athletes, 1,700 institutions, and 29 sports. That is where we stand today, and we're only getting started. That's the good news. The goal here is to mobilize India into a sports powerhouse. हम कहते हैं ना, अब जीतेगा India. So that's exactly what it totally encapsulates what we're trying to do here. Let me quickly come down to this webinar. This is our second webinar in the series that we will do, that SFA will conduct. And this webinar is called You Have an Athlete at Home, which is so true, isn't it? We're all of us who used to play sports, who have been in competitive sports, are at home, like the rest of India, like the rest of the world, and we're making the most of the situation that we are in currently. So just to give you an idea of why we decided to do this webinar and how the viewers, you guys who are watching us, can gain from this experience. We usually see our athletes in their, in their achievements, in all their glory, on the big stage. But we never actually get to witness or understand what the formative years are like for athletes and their parents. Because these two go together hand in hand. Young athletes need the support of their parents, of their staff, of their school staff, of their coaches. And this is an entire team that works as a unit. So we don't get to see this journey up close and personal very often. And of course, the sacrifices, the discipline, the motivation, and the unwavering support that goes into making an athlete who he or she becomes. So today, that's what we're going to do. We are going to look at what goes on in making an athlete who might one day represent our country on the global stage. So let me waste no more time and introduce you to my lovely panel. I'm going to start with the footballer in the house. We have with us Johan Panjwani. Now, I want to quickly tell you a few things about Johan. Johan is from Don Bosco High School, Matunga. Johan, could you please wave to us so that we know, hey, that's Johan. Fabulous. So Johan is from Don Bosco High School, Matunga. He's a gold medalist in under 12 football at the SFA Championship 2019. And I'll tell you a little secret. He's also a very, very good actor. We will get to that when we start talking to him. With Johan is his dad, Mr. Bimal Panjwani. Hi, sir. Welcome to the SFA. Johan's dad is a film producer who's produced more than 500 ad films since 1995. And he's also has a feature film called ₹5, which will be released internationally, and it's already won a lot of international awards. So I can say this safely that winning is their family occupation. Isn't that true, Johan? All right. Welcome to both of you. My next panelist is Ishan Dubey. Ishan Dubey, hi. Yay! Ishan Dubey is from Oak Ridge International School. He has won 3 golds last championship at SFA 2019. He won 3 gold medals in swimming under 14. So we have a good swimmer, and he's from Hyderabad, by the way. So welcome to SFA webinar, Ishan, and so proud of you for winning those 3 golds.
Thank you.
With Ishan is Ishan's mom, Mrs. Richa Dubey. She's a homemaker, which is one of the most important jobs in the world. I can't emphasize this enough. She used to play badminton and basketball in school, and now she keeps herself fit by helping Ishan achieve his dreams. Isn't that true? All right, welcome to both of you. We move to our third panelist, I'm sorry, Tisha Jasani. Tisha Jasani, wave out to us. Hey there. Tisha Jasani is from Jamnabai Nursi International School, Mumbai. She is a gold medalist in squash under 15 at the SFA Championship Mumbai 2019. And with Tisha is her mom. Hello, ma'am. Hi. With Tisha is her mom, Mrs. Ruchita Jasani. She's a chartered accountant by profession and is currently working with Shapurji Palanji. And like all other mothers, I think she's acing the multitasking game. So welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the panel. And of course, next we have Ananya, who's from Future Kids School. She's also from Hyderabad. So we have 2 panelists from Mumbai, 2 from Hyderabad. And Ananya is a gold medalist in throwball and volleyball at the SFA Championship in Hyderabad. And Ananya is also someone I sense who's extremely creative, because I have had this chat with her earlier and I find her extremely sweet and creative. So I'm going to come back to that more. I'm going to come back to that, Ananya, and touch on that. But Ananya is with her mom. Hi, ma'am. Hey, Ananya is with her mom, Dr. Anjali. She practices Ayurveda. She has a clinic in Panchakarma Center at the Lingampalli, Hyderabad. I'd like to extend a very warm welcome to all 4 panelists and their parents. It's very exciting to have all of you join us for this webinar. Without wasting any time, I will start with Johan. Can we start with you?
Yeah, sure.
Yes? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Super. So Johan, just want to throw the first question at you. What has been your journey like? Like, what was the first? You're a footballer. Just to give everyone a heads up, we have a footballer, a swimmer, a squash player, and a volleyball and throwball champion. All these are champions in their respective fields. And it's such a mixed, it's such a fun bag mix. So I'm going to come to Johan and ask you, when was the first time, Johan, that you started developing interest in football, that you started watching it, or you started, practicing it, just playing it? Like, what was your journey like? How did you start?
Before I would like to talk about myself,
okay,
I would like to thank SFA to organize this webinar so we can express ourselves on this excellent platform. So I am from Don Bosco High School, Matunga, which is the powerhouse of sports in many disciplines. So, and I would like to thank a few people who have shaped up my football career. That is our school principal, Father Bernard Fernandez, our school director, Father Crispino D'Souza, our sports director, Sir Clifford, our sports coordinator, Sir Barry, and last but not the least, our coaches, Sir Leslie Machado and Sir Mohan Pillai. So my football career started on a very funny note. After our final exams, there is a summer camp that the school organizes. So there are hundreds of players that come to play from our school and outside. And I was one of them. So whenever I used to go and play and come back home, I used to tell my dad, Dad, I scored 12 goals, I scored 14 goals, I scored 15 goals. But we lost. So my dad says, if we've scored so many goals, how can we lose? So I didn't know football at that time. So I said, I don't know, but we lost. Then one day my coach called up my father and told him, Tanya, I want to talk to you.
Oh
so
God.
School. And then my coach told my father that, would your child be interested to play football? He runs pretty fast. So my father said, yeah, sure. But then my father asked him, Johan every time tells me that he scored 12 goals, he scored 15 goals, but he loses. Why is that so? So my coach says that, yeah, it's obvious. Johan, if he scores in one goal, he takes the ball, goes to the other side and scores there. So like that, he scores 5 goals for his team and he scores 6 goals for the opponents. So that is obvious I'm going to lose. So now the turning points in my career. The first one was when I was playing in under-8 category, when I was appointed as the captain of the team for the first time. So there we won the trophy and I was the highest goal scorer in the whole tournament.
Okay.
And the second one is actually from SFA, where I was given the Abhinav Bindra scholarship for playing outstanding football on the field. So because of this scholarship, I've gone to Mohali and there I saw many machines that I'd never seen in my life. I saw machines to test your pelvic, your upper body, your lower body. I was amazed and my mind opened up and I got more motivated. And now recently, although I play in the under 12 category, I was selected for the under 14 category in the RFYS tournament, Reliance Foundation Youth Sports. So there we had to play 7 matches to get to the trophy, to win the trophy, out of which I had played 6. Because our coach Sir Mohan Pillai was afraid that the boys are big, he will get hurt. So he made me sit on the bench to just have a look at how they play on the first match. So on the second match, after 10 minutes of the game, nothing had happened, no goals, no nothing. So he put me in and I went. I knew it was going to be tough. I gave all I had. Unfortunately, I scored for my team. So we did all 6 like that. And then in the finals, again, it was
I have a question. I'm sorry. I hate to interrupt you. It is so beautiful to hear you speak. I mean, if I had that much confidence at your age, I don't know where I would be right now. But I need to go back to that story of yours and bring in Mr. Bimal here.
Yeah.
When you got a call from his coach, the first time that he's mentioning that he was you were called to the school, what was going on in your head? Is he generally a naughty child? Do you get like these kind of calls, or were you just surprised that, oh, why is the coach calling me to to the school?
Yeah, this is just in the senior KG or the first standard, if I recollect. And Yuman is a very disciplined kind of a fellow.
Right.
At times, rather a little too disciplined. So when I got a call, yes, I was wondering that why has he called me, but I'm not really afraid. I'm sure he wouldn't have played any prank, or maybe I was thinking that he's coming and generally telling me 14 goals, 15 goals, so probably we'll get to know the truth today.
Okay.
And then he kind of was telling me that he runs really fast. So can he be part of the football team? I said, sure, you guys are the coaches, you all take the calls, and that was it.
I can still not like get my head around the fact that he was so excited that he was scoring goals for both the teams. That is some story. Johan, that is a good story to have. My goodness.
Thank you.
I'm going to take the same question to our next panelist, Ananya. Ananya.
Hello.
Hi, I want to know the same thing. Just want to understand your journey into throwball and volleyball. Um, you know, these are two sports that I have played in my life, and I know how much fun and how amazing they are. So, what got you interested in them, and how did you start playing it for your school, and then eventually representing your school, and you became this good that you're now a gold medalist.
Oh, actually, my sports career did not start with throwball, volleyball. It actually started with tennis.
Oh, okay.
I was interested with games that we played after tennis in our community. I
Right.
joined them, and then later I forced my mom into me playing tennis. As my sister was also there, she agreed. I forced her, and then after that, I continued playing tennis. In school, we were supposed to choose a physical activity as a compulsory. So I in fifth grade it all changed. So they like you choose one sport
Right.
and you have a compulsory physical activity. So I chose throwball because that was the one that I thought was like, I don't know, like fun and lenient. I started playing. I was not very good at it. I could not serve.
Okay.
And that the next year in sixth we had SFA. So I went for SFA, and so the finals, we went to the finals, and it was against our school. So we played against our own team.
Oh, team
Our,
B, team A.
yeah, our
Okay.
second team. So I got gold. Our team got gold, and then in seven after that, we got introduced to volleyball.
Right.
So I thought, why not join volleyball? It might be a greater challenge, something for me to work on more. So I joined. We had a temporary coach.
Right.
He taught me. He believes in me that I can go very far and play very well.
Okay.
After that, I got another coach. Her name is Shruti. I didn't like her so much at first, but then now
So she was tough.
I don't think that I can do anything in volleyball without her.
Okay.
So she's a very amazing coach, and this is how my journey went.
This coach-athlete relationship I want to come to in some time. It's a very interesting relationship, this coach-athlete relationship. Isn't it?
Yeah.
So tell me, like most of the other, I think one of the panelists, Ishan is a swimmer. Tisha plays squash, more or less independent individual sports. But when it comes to Johan or your sport, throwball, volleyball, these are team sports. So does that make a difference to you? Does that has that changed something in you in terms of playing with a team? Has that changed you in a way?
Maybe as communicating with people, having
Okay.
better communication.
Are you an introvert, or would you call yourself an introvert or an extrovert?
Introvert, according to all my friends, and I agree, I'm an introvert.
Okay.
Huge
Mom, what is she?
Yes, correct. She's
Introvert.
correct.
and then what happens to you when you're playing?
I become a total extrovert. I shout on the field. I shout.
Wow.
Our teacher tells us shout on the field, be aggressive, so the other team gets scared. I shout. One match, I was the only one who was shouting, like, go people, come on, we can do this. And like people were staring at me, but I didn't care.
So you have like two personalities, one on court and one in real life.
Yeah.
That's I think the case with a lot of people. I've noticed. Some people are so quiet and timid on the outside in general, but when they are playing and when they're on the field, or they're playing, they just change and transform into complete tigers. And in your case, tigress. So well done on, and I'll come back and touch on that for sure. But ma'am, I want to bring you in. What are the changes have you seen in her through this journey of sport that she's been on? Whether it's tennis or volleyball and throw ball now, what are the changes do you see, and how has this journey been for you?
Yeah, she's communicating properly with friends, with friendly, and she is managing to tell whatever she wants to tell openly.
Right.
Yeah. If
So
she
you
wants,
feel sport has opened her up?
yeah, true.
It has?
Yeah. And
And
her
that,
coaches are very good. They encouraged her that you play well, don't worry.
yeah.
Yeah. So she got that word and she was very happy. She came to me and she told that moms, they told me like that. So I will join volleyball.
Nice, good stuff. That's a good coach.
She decided by herself.
She did that by herself. That is incredible. That is incredible. I will come back to the both of you, of course. Now we move to our third panelist, of course, with the same question. Ishan.
Yeah.
Ishan, fellow Hyderabad, the gold medalist. So, quickly want to understand from you your journey. When was the first time that you got interested in swimming? Was it I don't know, were you swimming as a child, or I don't know, your parents were savage, they threw you in the pool and they said swim. I don't know what happened. So tell me your story.
So my story is not actually that interesting, but so when I was young, I used to learn
Or
swimming.
let us decide that. Let us decide that.
I used to learn swimming like, most of the people around us.
Right.
Okay. Swimming was just like, I just used to learn swimming for fun and just so that I could know how to swim. But mainly I was doing karate.
Okay.
I'm in black belt Dan 2, which is like very high.
Oh, wow.
Okay. Yeah, okay. But like, yeah, I was just learning swimming for fun. Then like I left swimming, started trying other sports like football, I tried basketball, I tried cricket. So, and in school I was like still doing inter-school competitions for swimming because I found it fun and I found a few friends there. So you know
Right.
what? This is the life. So then one day I went for SFA 2017. Okay. Over there I saw tons of people who were doing really, really well.
Right.
I decided that I want to be there. Like me and my parents decided that like we should be there. So
Yep.
then I went to Ayush sir in Telangana state, and like he changed my swim scene completely. And very quickly I came to near the top, and I'm here now.
Wow. Wow. And I want to actually bring in this question here. You said you started off with martial arts,
Yeah,
karate, and then you moved to swimming.
yeah.
Now, I know how I'm going to frame this question to you as to what is the similarity. There is no similarity, I think. These are two different worlds of sport. So how did you make this switch? And do you feel there is still something which is a common ground in between these two completely different sports?
So I would say that the common ground is like they're both individual sports first of all, and second of all, both of them give you the sense of confidence, like give you confidence. If I go to any competition, like if I went to any competition for karate, or if I go to any race, if I race anyone, no matter who it is, I know that I will do my best, and what will happen will happen.
Correct.
I deserve to win.
I'm sorry, but almost feel like I'm listening to some Zen Baba who has all the answers of the world. And you're what? You're under 14. God. What?
I'm turning 14.
You are turning. Thanks for that update. And you're talking like you know like all the answers in the world. God, I should start swimming. Okay, so before I move to your mom, how's the weather in Hyderabad?
Horrible.
Horrible. That's the same here. Ditto. Bombay is worse. So what do we do when it's so hot? What do we like doing?
Swim.
And what can't we do right now?
Swim.
Oh no, man! Just wanted to bring that out. Okay, bringing in you, ma'am. Watching your son go from martial arts to swimming to this confident human being that is sitting right next to you. How does this work? Like, where does this journey start from? What have you seen him go through to be here what are the changes that the sport has brought in him?
Once he started swimming, so his schedule became very tight. Means, he has to go early in the morning. He has to report there at 5 o'clock, and then
Right.
there. Then from there, I take breakfast from him to the pool and drop him to school. Whole day he's in school, so his schedule is very tight. So I see that he's become more disciplined and more organized also.
Wow.
That way he has turned out to be a very, it is very good for him now.
That is every parent's dream ever. To have an organized, disciplined, and confident child. God, Bhagwan, mujhe aur kuch de do.
So I owe all this to his coach actually. I don't know what magic he did to him. So joining swimming, he's changed completely.
Do you feel he's growing up to be far more sorted and confident a teenager than?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
Really confident, and he knows what he wants, and he knows what to do to get there. So that's very important. So yeah, definitely.
Wow, that is so cool. Ishan, don't listen to all that. Okay, we're like we shouldn't say this all in front of him. Oh no, we should. He's a confident guy. Okay, we move to our fourth panelist with the same question. Tisha Jasani. She is, of course, a gold medalist in squash, like I said, under 15, and she's from Jamnabai Nursi International in Mumbai. Tisha, tell me, when was the first time? How old were you when you started getting interested in squash as a sport?
Actually, I don't think my story is that sensational either, but I actually didn't know anything about squash before I actually started playing.
Okay.
So I used to do skating skating for 3 years on the district level before I started playing squash, and then I left skating. I think I started playing squash at the age of 9.5 or 10.
Okay.
I joined at Country Club Kandivali, and yeah, at first I was playing squash for fun, but when I really started enjoying the sport and playing more and more tournaments, I think I needed more professional coaching. So then my mom put me into professional coaching at GSE, and there my game improved a lot thanks to my coaches Punita and Kuarsa. And yeah, some of my achievements would be only last year when I won the Maharashtra State Championship and SFA.
She says it so casually. Just last year, where I won the Maharashtra State Championship. Wow, girl, and SFA. Okay, so again, in your case, two completely different worlds. You started off as a skater, I mean, I don't know. Like, is there a parallel that you can draw in skating and squash? Like, I don't know. Is there one?
Yes, of course. It would have to be fitness and speed too, because you have to be really fast on your skates. And when you're playing squash, you have to be on your toes every time to get every ball left and right.
I agree. I'm gonna come to your mom, and before I ask anything, I'm loving this twinning that mother-daughter is. I mean, I'm loving this whole twinning vibe that is going on. It is extremely adorable.
Thank you.
So, ma'am, just want to understand again from your perspective as a mother, when you see her getting so interested and so good at a sport, what do you have to do on the back end to continue letting this flourish? Also, what changes do you see in her because of the sport?
So, honestly speaking, since I was working and I'm still am, I've not kind of compromised on my work. It made it very difficult for me to give her time in terms of making sure she goes to tournaments, whether they are in Mumbai. So I to her for these classes or for these tournaments. Incidentally, I happen to be from Hyderabad, so there's a Hyderabad connection for me as well. So I have my parents staying there. So she kind of comes in, she takes her to all these tournaments. So that way we are just able to manage. And since she started like in 9 years, 10 years, so she was old enough to kind of handle things herself. So she's been very independent, so going to classes, managing things. I guess she takes care of a lot of stuff for me. So that takes the burden off my head.
I love this. This is so amazing. Before I actually move on to the next thing, I want to understand squash is a sport. For that matter, any sport, when you get into it professionally, it does it become taxing? And I think this question is for all the parents. Do you feel there is some amount of pressure in terms of equipment or in terms of just the general coaching and like what is that procedure like and how do you navigate through it?
So it's not been so tough in case of squash and all that, the equipment and all. It's not, I mean, if you were to say it's not a very expensive sport, because some sports become very expensive for anybody to get into. With squash, it is not so much. I would say it's somewhere in the middle. It may not be as easy in terms of equipment, accessibility, as much as say badminton would be. Absolutely. But again, it is not very difficult. So we've not we found people from all classes coming in, participating, and coaching. So it's been good.
Right. Thank you. Before I move to the next question, I just want to engage our viewers and everyone who's listening and watching us. We have a poll coming up. We have a few polls coming up. So make sure that you answer and you select the answer to the question that you feel is most right. And you can also send us your questions. We will keep taking in your questions. We'll keep asking the panelists the questions that you have. So this is for all the viewers. Please send us your questions and yeah, let's get started. So we move to the next question, and that is again for Johan. And Johan, I want to know, who's your favorite sporting icon?
So, my favorite sporting icon is the great Lionel Messi. Yeah, don't give me that. Messi's really good.
Yeah, I'm sure. I just don't support his team. That's all. Why do you like Messi? I mean, I know why you like him, but tell me why you like Messi.
Because, he is short. So people don't consider him as a player, much of a player. But he takes the advantage of that. So if not anyone is who's marking him, so he will take the advantage. He'll go and score and come back.
and the good thing is that he only scores in the opposite team's goal, right?
Yes. Not his goal. Not in his goal.
Wow. Whenever there's a sports documentary on you, Johan, and I'm sure there will be one, this story is going to go in bullets. That Johan used to kick goals in for both the teams. That is such an incredible story. I just can't get over it. I'm sorry. Okay, so we move to Tisha. Tisha, who's your most favorite sporting icon and why?
So my most favorite sporting icon would be Noura El Shabini. You might not know her. She is an Egyptian squash player and her rank is number 2 all over the world. And also I like her because her shots are amazing. And she's also known as the warrior princess on because she's a fighter and she fights for every point.
I agree. And she's an aggressive player.
Yeah.
Do you see yourself playing like her, or do you have a different style on board? Or you try to mimic her?
I don't try and mimic her. I think more than shots, I have speed. So yeah.
Okay. That's a good choice. Tell me, if I had to ask you, since skating is also your sport technically, is there a skating icon that you remember that you love?
Not really. I don't really remember a skating icon because actually I was very small when I started skating and I
Okay.
didn't know anyone.
Right. All right. So we take the same question to Ishan,
Yeah.
swimmer boy in the house. So who's your favorite sporting icon?
Now, my favorite sporting icon, like there's two of them. So it's Michael Phelps, like who everyone knows, literally everyone knows, and Adam Peaty. I like both of them dominate all of their races. So like they beat everyone by like a second, which is like a huge amount in high level competitions.
Of
They
course.
like completely annihilate all the other racers. So I like that. I like that aspect.
Okay. Is there when when we like a sports star and we are also playing that sport, there is this possibility of trying to be like them. Do you attempt? Do you have that at the back of your head?
Yeah,
And these are good icons to follow actually. So do you have that?
yeah. See, Adam Peaty, like I'll take him. He's a breaststroker, and I was and kind of still am a breaststroker. So he, so like the style of stroke which he does, I try and mimic the same thing when I'm in the pool. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's like a surefire path to victory.
Nice. So it's actually the inspiration is kind of coming into your life, and you're also kind
Yeah,
of
yeah.
well done. Okay, so I'll take the same question to Tisha. Tisha I asked. I'm sorry, I'm a little lost. I Tisha, right? I take the next. Can't hear anything.
Ananya.
Oh, Ananya. I'm sorry. I'll take the same question to Ananya now.
I actually don't watch a lot of sports and have a lot of international players who I like. In
Right.
close up, I've seen playing. My favorite player will be my coach. She,
Okay.
according to what I've heard, she was a national player.
Okay.
And what I really like about her is that she's a little short, and
Okay.
she kind of takes advantage of that. She has a lot of power. She's agile,
Okay.
more agile than I can be. So
Yeah.
I look up to her a lot.
So, but having a sports icon or having someone that you look up to who is also your coach, does it help you a little more in kind of getting the best out of them?
Yeah, I actually ask her whenever I can. I ask her, like, we had this inter-house competition. And after that, I asked her how I played. She told, you played good. You need to improve on this stuff. And I try to gain as much knowledge about the sport as I can from my coach or my seniors or my peers who play volleyball.
Right.
So she's my favorite player.
Right. That is good. We now have we take a poll right now before we move to the next round. So we'll just put up the poll question so that all of you who are watching, who are listening in, who have tuned in, can be a part of this, and this can be far more interactive. So yes, there is a poll question that come up. A sport you would like to see at SFA, multiple choices. Oh, a sport that you would like to see at SFA. My God, we already have 29. How many more sports can we have? I think a lot more. But all of you who have tuned in, please do reply to this poll. There is Wushu. Wushu is a Chinese karate martial arts sort of a sport. Equestrian is horse riding, beach volleyball, ultimate frisbee ultimate frisbee. I'm not trying to influence this poll, but ultimate frisbee is what I think it's going to be. Okay, we move to the next question to all our panelists, and this one goes to all the parents. because let's face it, आपके support के बगैर हम कुछ नहीं कर सकते. Right? I think that's a fair statement to make. Do the parents agree? Yes. So just want to understand from you all, what is the kind of support that you receive from the child's school in order to let him pursue their sport professionally? And I will start this question with Tisha's mom.
Yeah, hi. So the school actually encourages them to pick up sports. So while they don't have squash within the school campus, whenever she has to go for tournaments, the school kind of gives her the permission. Whatever classes she misses, the teachers help in bringing her up to speed with those classes. And actually, the school is the one who sponsored her for the SFA tournament, the NSSA. So if it was not for the school, she wouldn't be participating in these tournaments. So I guess we got a good support from the school.
Yeah, and she was bringing gold to the school. So I think it's a good balanced relationship. The same question to Johan's dad, Bimal sir. What kind of support do you see getting from the school authorities and the coaches and the staff for Johan?
You see, as Johan has already said, that almost the powerhouse of sports. And in the second standard, when the kid comes to the second standard, they kind of choose around 56 students, 56 kids from thousands who come to the camp, and they form a division which is called a sports division.
Okay.
Now, many disciplines, many kids with many disciplines are there in this division: football, cricket, hockey, basketball, and these players or this division, they come out of their class at 2:30. The school ends at 4 o'clock, 4:15. These kids come out at 2:30. They go to the ground and they play their respective sports. So, and it is like a classroom. It's like proper attendance, and you just can't bunk. So they have a sports period, so to say. So that really helps the kids to really develop. And encourages all the players to play various tournaments, whether they are in school or whether it's on a holiday, and so that they get more exposure. And I think Don Bosco is really supportive, right from the principal to the rector to the coordinator.
And that's why Bosco, Don Bosco dominates all the time in every sport. There is a reason. Okay. Same question, of course, goes to Ishan.
So Ishan's schools also supports us very well. First thing is that he reaches school late after assembly and all, because he goes directly from the pool. So they allow him to do that. They have given him late permission. So, and when he goes out for competitions, like last year we went for national school games, nationals. So we were in Delhi for like 10 days, 1 week or 10 days. So we missed school. So they really support, with his projects and homeworks and everything. They give him grace time to finish all that. Right. So teachers also help him to finish whatever he misses out. So all that is very good. They just help him a lot. So, and they also make him inter-school competitions and everything. So they help him.
Oh, that's great. 1 second. I want to ask Ishan. Ishan, do you get free attendance? That's very important.
Yes, thankfully.
Well done. Then we are good, because that is very important. All right. We take the same question to Ananya's mom. Ma'am, how does the school and support staff, really help Ananya in her game?
Yeah, they mainly to SFS sports, they will pick up and drop, and they will provide hot food at their from school.
What?
Yeah, for all kids, whoever participates. Our school prepares food. We don't have lunch. Because lunch is there in their school. Even that day also, they will take the food wherever they are. and with water, juice, everything. That take care too much.
I just want to I want to ask, can I get admission in this school, or is it too late for me?
The school is very good and caring, and they will give the coach in the morning and evening, and they will do the transportation also. They will give.
Okay.
So
So
that
the back end work is they support.
parents, it is very good because we are working.
Is it like not stressful for you to just send your ward with the school for these competitions, because you know he or she is taken care of?
Not at all stressful. They will take care too much.
Oh, see, Ananya, she's hinting. She's just saying she'll take care too much. You can take her. All right. So thank you for that. We will start with the next question for our panelists. And I have to note, I have to point this out at this time, that all of you are so confident and so well spoken. I think this being a part of any sport helps you in building your overall personality, and that is what is on display here right now, because I'm really impressed just by listening to all of you and your stories. I want to come back to Johan. Johan, when you win a match, when you play like Messi, because he's your favorite player, when you play like Messi and you win a match, what is your victory dance like? Like, how do you celebrate a victory, which is very important in an athlete's life?
So we don't celebrate in league matches because all of our players, all of our team is expecting we're going to win. But if it's a known team and it's tough, then we give all out. And if we win in the league match, after the final whistle, we go to our coach and pick up our coach and say, "You have taught us, you made us win this match." And before the match and after the match, we say a little prayer and we just make a circle and shout out loud, "We will win." So we get some positive energy in our life. And from this sport, especially, I've learned two things, which is there are no shortcuts to success. Let it be in the game of football or in the game of life. And the second thing is you need to work very hard to make your dream come true.
Oh my God, I need to pinch myself to believe this is an under 12-year-old talking to me. What is this, all these enlightenment thoughts that you have, Johan? Where do you get these?
The lockdown is doing the trick.
No, but before I take this question to others, Johan, you're an actor, is it? I did some research and I put your name on Google and it came and I was like, are you an actor?
No, I've just acted in one film.
Okay. Well done. So you're multi-talented, that's for sure. Okay, so that's how you celebrate your victories. You just pick up your coach and you just go on. And the fact that you've mentioned positive energies is so endearing. It is unbelievable to hear a 12-year-old say this. I'll take the same question to Ishan. Ishan, I know it's an individual sport. Most of the time, when you're winning, you are winning alone and it's lonely at the top. But how do you celebrate, Ishan?
So basically before competitions, our diet is very, very strict. Okay. So like we'll have to cut down carbs and then we'll go down carbs. It's like very complex and I can't eat most of the stuff that I want to eat. So after each and every competition, we go out and I feast.
And what do you feast on?
It matters. Sometimes I go to it matters. Sometimes I eat Chinese. Sometimes I eat fast food. Anything.
Essentially everything that your mother disapproves.
Yes, everything.
That is the yummiest food. The ones that our mothers don't want us to eat.
Yes, yes.
Global fact.
Very true.
All right, so you just binge eat. Is that what you do? Fabulous. That's a good way to be. Eating is the only truth of life.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, well, I'll take the same question to Tisha. Tisha, how do you celebrate when you win a match and you come back home with a gold?
So I don't really celebrate my victories, but when it's a really tough match and I win, I celebrate with sweets. My parents get me sweets like brownies and pastries because I love sweets.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. I relate with it completely. So you have a sweet tooth and that's what you do.
Yeah.
Because it's sweet victory, right? Okay, same question to Ananya. Ananya.
After a match, if we win, all of us just like shout it out.
No, 1 second. After the match, when you win and when you finish eating the food that your school provides.
Oh, in the court itself, we all hug each other, we hug our teacher, we congratulate each other. And then after like my mom picks me up or I'll be going home, I either buy ice cream on the way or after I come home, I take money, I go down and buy ice cream.
So 1 second. So let me get this straight. Ananya, who is an introvert by her own choice, by her own words, shouts on the court after winning a match, also shouts during the match to appear aggressive, and then comes back home and has a cup of ice cream. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, the ice cream is a lot because my mom doesn't approve. But I shout like a little bit, not too much after the match.
Okay.
Not too much.
Yeah, so you have to roar after you win. Yeah, that's legit. That's the only way to go. Okay, some interesting victory. Oh, no, 1 second, I have a question for all of you. Nobody does a victory dance.
No.
Nobody, really? I swear, I need to see everyone. Nobody does a victory dance.
No.
Oh man, do you know this is a legit thing at SFA Championship, whether it's Mumbai or Hyderabad? We make all the winners who get medals dance.
Yeah.
You know that, right?
That's right.
I'm sure I have embarrassed you on the stage and made you dance.
So that was the only time Don Bosco had danced and you had made them dance at the SFA.
See, so this is our SFA tradition because that's how we celebrate victories. We dance. Okay, I'll go to the next round, and this question is for the athletes again. If I had to ask you one funny or not funny, like serious also is okay, a game-changing moment in your life when you realize that, let's say, you always thought, hey, I can't do more than this, but then one day you were like, oh wow, I could do this. I don't believe this. Like one of those moments where you feel, wow, like something's changed. So one of your game-changing moments. We'll start with Tisha.
One of my game-changing moments would be, like I said last year, I won the Maharashtra State Championship, and I was really proud because I'd never had a major win, and that was like one of my first wins. Yeah,
Okay.
and my mom was also really proud, and the gold medal felt really good.
Well, good, right? Gold medals always feel good. And I remember when you were introducing yourself, you said it so casually. Oh, I've also won the Maharashtra state, it's just on the side, keeping it cash.
I guess that's a very important win for her, the SFA and the Maharashtra win. So
Absolutely.
once you start the journey with the gold medals, that's when those are the life-changing moments.
Then where you go from there, you have to go only higher.
I can only hope she plays for India one day. That's my dream.
Well, that's what we are all dreaming. That's our collective dream. That's what we are dreaming. Same question to Ananya.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess one of them was I got selected as a substitute, I guess last year, for ICSE inter-school tournament. So I was playing at the back and I was a substitute. And for SFA, the last year's SFA, my teacher was like, Ananya, you're playing center. So in volleyball, center is like one of the most important positions. They have to move a lot, be very powerful, and hit. So I'm like, okay, I never thought I'd be a center player, but okay, fine. So I thought it's not game changing, but like me knowing that I can go up, improve more. So that's
Okay. See, the moment you have realizations, those realizations are big. So even if you think that realization is small, the realization is big actually. So that's a good one. We take the same question to Ishan, the swimmer.
Yeah, so my game-changing moment, it's not funny, it's kind of serious, was at the start of my swimming career. So, for like sometime when I joined Ayush's coaching, so first of all, there's like a system. So the best swimmers will come in the morning, okay, before school hours, and there'll be like, difficult training sessions, and like comparative training was at that time is in that time period. So, and in the evening, like it just people just come there, they just swim for fun and then they leave. So at first I was in the competitive batch, okay. So I wasn't being very serious in a way. I was just making a joke out of it.
Okay.
My coach kicked me out and he put me in the evening batch. So I was in the evening batch and I was still doing the same thing. Like I was very, very dull. So then my coach, so after some time I talked to one day my coach took me in and he talked to me and my parents, and then after like a little bit of inspiration from him, I decided that I wanted to, go forward and do better. And then after that, I came back, like I kept working, came back to the morning batch, and then, yeah, I'm very serious.
Well, I see. The thing is that every time you hit fitness or you try anything, they say, right, that it's all in here. When you change this, everything else just changes with it. It's like in sync. So you had your change here one day, and you decided, hey, I don't have to be dull. I can kill it at this, and then that's what you did. So that's a good realization to have. And of course, I'm going to take the same question to Johan now. Johan.
So
I can't wait to listen to this. I'm getting full Babaji vibes from you. You have so much knowledge for a 12-year-old. Go on. Sorry.
So there is one team from which not won till last year.
Okay.
Which is called it's the St. Mary's team.
Okay.
So one day we were playing the MDFA, Mumbai District Football Association.
Right.
There we were facing them in the semi-finals.
Okay.
So then it was a tough match. It was a good fight. So in the first half there were no goals happening. So in the second half, my coach motivated me. He's like, we need only one goal to win. We can't win more than or maybe two. So I play the left flank, and my coach had given me a position. If there is a corner kick going on, you stand on the pole of the goal. So I was standing there. So there's one good kicker in our team called Ayush. His kicks are long. So he kicked, it came towards my head. So I couldn't kick it, so I just hit it. I just touched it with my head and it went into the goal. After that, one more player from our team called Angelo Fernandez. He's long. So he's tall. So he has an advantage in heading the ball.
Okay.
So we put in another one. And then
Wow.
we won the match.
Wow. My God. And that realization you had at that point.
Yeah.
And I'm having a realization too, Johan. Can I share that with you?
Yeah, sure.
I'm having a realization that you will make a great storyteller. I swear. You add so much detailing, and you have like I've lived that moment with you. Like I was on the field with you right now while you were telling me about this game-changing realization that you had. Thank you. Now what we're going to do is we're going to break it up a little bit. थोड़ा ज़्यादा serious हो गया है. So we are going to ask you some fun questions, and you just have to point fingers at each other. Okay? You can point it to yourself, or you can point it to the person next to you. All right? It's an extremely simple game. Are we ready for this, guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm sure I don't know if you guys are allowed to be on Instagram, but a lot of you who are must have already heard of this game. So I'm going to ask a few questions, and you just have to point a finger. Okay? And I want to see all of you so that I can laugh, because this is going to be so much fun. Okay. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you guys ready to point fingers at each other?
Yes.
All right. Who's more messy? She's pointing to herself, Ananya. It's me. Okay. Who's the fakest?
Sorry?
Fakest. Very fake.
No.
I like how some self-actualizations are happening. Johan is pointing to his own face. Who's the laziest? Oh God. Too funny. Okay. Who's most likely to get arrested for eating too much?
That would be it.
Ishan was like, I'm winning this. Just give me the gold medal. Okay. Who's the craziest? I like how Bimalji knows. I know myself very well. It's me. Tisha, who's the craziest? Are you sure? I have a feeling it's your mom. No? Damn.
My mom is
wrong
very
feeling.
straightforward and
Who gives who a hard time?
I think both of us give each other a hard time.
This was meant for all of you to point at each other.
Me
This is
too.
a trick question.
Yeah.
Everyone's pointing at each other.
Everything.
Okay. Who's most likely to not shower for days?
Not me.
both of us.
He won't. After him, he won't.
Yeah, but Ishan's mom, but he's swimming, right? So he's as good as they
It's even more important to take shower.
without that chlorine on him. Okay. Who's more naughty? Yes. I love Mrs. Dubey. With you, sister.
He's the one.
And the last one. Who spends the most money?
None of us.
None of us? Nice. Finally, Tisha, thanks for just pointing
My
out.
mom does too much shopping.
I think that's all moms. They get fed up of us.
And
then
Tisha
they
is the
shop.
most frugal child I have come across. She hardly spends. She's so careful about her money.
Listen,
I am. Truly.
Oh my God. And I didn't. Sorry. Can I ask that question again? Who spends the most money? I like how truth is coming out, and then afterwards, no, this is going to be used for arguments. But mom, I know. Okay, this has been fun. I'm going to move to the next segment. We It's almost 6:05. Wow, we've been really talking for an hour, guys. Did you realize that? It's a good thing if you didn't realize it. Okay. So, coming down to the next question, and this is first for the panelists, first for the athletes, I mean. A lot of you have been coming to SFA for multiple years, right? You've done 2 SFAs, 2 championships, 3 championships. What I want to understand is, as an athlete, as a swimmer, as a squash player, as a volleyball player, as a footballer, what has been your experience? What is your experience at SFA? We'll start with the swimmer. Ishan?
Yeah, so like my experience with SFA, so like my best experience, first of all, was in 2019, where I won 3 gold medals and broke a record.
Obvious.
So it would obviously be my favorite, but like I really like SFA and the idea, because SFA, like it's like you can see how ahead of the rest of the competitions it is, because it uses the best equipment. Because like, there's this thing called touchpads. Like it uses the best pools. There's this thing called touchpads, and it's used to like measure time properly. So like you can, it's way more accurate using touchpads. SFA uses that. It takes advantage of that, and SFA like it uses the best equipment that is available. So like that's what I like. Yeah, it's very organized, much better than a lot of competitions we've gone through.
But tell me, as a swimmer, a lot of times you go for a lot of competitions, and swimming is something like it's a sport where you're literally in the pool, and the hygiene and all that really plays a big role.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, hygiene plays a big role in every sport and everywhere, but especially for a sport like swimming. So what has your experience been in terms of the quality of pools and in terms of just the overall management at SFA?
SFA is really, really good. So the pool is always very clean. The equipment is also very clean. And everything is properly set up. It's very hygienic. Yeah. And all the drinks they serve is always served properly.
Right. I'll take the same question to Ananya. Ananya, as when you come with a team for a team sport like volleyball or throwball, you sign up as a team, you play as a team. What has your personal experience and the experience of your whole team, your school, been at SFA?
Oh, actually, my experience has been good. It's been pretty good because the courts are nice. The markings that they put for the court, they're accurate. The coaches are nice. They judge fairly. And also for volleyball, we were early, so there's a lot of place to practice, initial practice before the game. My team, we had a great time. We encourage other sports that were around us. Like when we were playing throwball, Coco was going on. So our match is not going on, so we encouraged them. We overall enjoyed it a lot. We used to goof. We goofed around a lot. So we had a good experience.
That's good. I'll take the same question to Tisha.
Yeah, so SFA was actually the first tournament I ever played. So it was a really special place in my heart. It was my first tournament I played at Nerul and at DY Patil Stadium, and even though I lost, it was a great experience, and I learned a lot from that tournament. And recently, last year, I played the SFA Championship of 2019, and the courts were really clean, and like Ananya said, that the coaches were also very fair, and also I love the medal. And the gold medal, how it feels really good.
I completely agree with you. So many times I've tried to sneak one medal out, but it's just not possible. You have to win it.
Isha wants to show her this is the medal that she's got.
Yay! Come on, wear it, show off. You won it. You worked hard for this one. But I agree. I think I'm going to take the same question to Johan. Johan, how you like SFA? Tell me how you like the medals you won.
Firstly, they are nicely designed. So I played for 2 years and we got gold for both the years.
Oh wow!
So I like the way it is designed.
Does it feel like a international championship medal? Does it feel like that?
Yeah, it feels like one.
It feels like one. You worked for it. Tell me how your experience at SFA has been till now.
So, firstly, there is good infrastructure and it is very nicely organized. For example, if you win, for the joy of the players, you make them dance.
Right.
And then, you give them different scholarships. Like I got one.
Right.
In the finals, when you reach the semi-final and the final stage, you get good competition. So you get to know what is it going to be when you're going to go ahead.
Correct.
And third, there are wise referees. There are wise referees.
Right.
If it's a foul, it's a foul. You can't do anything about it. You can't argue with the referee.
Right.
So that's what I've seen till I played 2 years.
Right. I like how you say there are wise referees, which is very important because when you're playing a sport, these are the basic things that you need, right?
Yeah.
Fair play is the most basic thing that you need. But I'm going to come to the parents. We'll start with Bimal sir only. What has been your experience? Have you been coming with Johan to SFA to visit the championship? And what has been your experience from the entire championship that you've visited?
Yes, I have been coming with Johan, not only for SFA, but for all the tournaments I do go. And it's pretty much the same what Johan, I think, it's covered most of the points. The only thing is that both the food and everything is really clean and very hygienic. But our referees always insist because it's usually a full day thing when you're there. So our referees always insist that you have to get your own food because it's a 2 or 3 day tournament.
Yeah.
You cannot afford to fall suddenly have a stomach upset or something. So you have to eat, except for, of course, water and everything which you guys really provide. So I think it's been very beautifully organized, and I have gone for many tournaments where a lot of fights do happen because of the referees and stuff. But here, everything is so smooth. It's absolutely makhan.
Absolutely makhan. That's one way to put it. I'm going to use this somewhere. It's absolutely makhan. But just in terms of the infrastructure, when we made a commitment to start this, the idea was to provide young Indian players with international standard infrastructure. So do you see that happening when you enter an SFA venue?
Ananya, Alia, honestly, none of the clubs or none of the institutes or organizations in Mumbai, they are anywhere close to any of the international standards. Because in Europe, if there is a 4-inch grass for an 8-year-old, Messi will play on the same grass because there are certain dictats. Except for now, Johan has been a part of Reliance Foundation development squad for the last 2 years. And that's the only place, to be very honest with you, we've seen some pure international infrastructure. That grasses that actually you're falling on cotton, you don't get hurt, and we have a long way to go, honestly.
Okay. All right. Honest feedback, always welcome. I'll take the same question to Ishan's mom.
Yeah, Alia, whatever Ishan said, I would like to continue on that. It's really a very good experience to go to an SFA competitions because we go, like last 2 years we have been going.
3 years.
3 years, yeah. So they organize it very well. They schedule all the competitions, all the events very well because otherwise, for swimming there are so many 50 breast, 50 free, then 100 breast. So, if they don't schedule it properly, you'll be sitting there whole day, at least for 2-3 days.
I think we've lost you. We'll come back to you, Mrs. Dubey. I'll take this question to Tisha's mom, Mrs. Jasani.
Yeah. So I was with Tisha when she went to the DY Patil Stadium tournament. It was very easy to find the way to get to the location. The stadium is huge. You can just get lost. You will not know where to go, where to get your go for your tournament. So all that was really well organized. She could go, she could find her place. The timings were perfect. So it all worked out really well. And I specifically need to mention about the recent tournament that she won. She went all on her own to the tournament center. She was able to find the place, finish the tournament, get her gold medal, and come back. I think that is something which is very credible because if the directions are not right, you don't know where to go to the tournament. If the timings are not right, it is difficult to be on time.
Guys, hi. Hi. Okay, I think we've lost Alia for now. So I just request you all to just wait for a bit. I'll be speaking to her and I'll make sure she's back in a minute. I think we've lost her for now. So just give me a minute. Okay, wait. Until then, we can just continue with a few polls till we get Alia back. I think the polls are already on your screen, guys. So till we get Alia back online, we can just answer a few polls. Okay, so the first poll, okay, for this one will be, when do you think schools will start functioning? Two options, of course, will be before August 2020 or post-August 2020. What do you guys think?
I think post-August, not before.
Yes, post-August. I don't think they'll start before then.
What do you guys think?
So for maybe July types, they should start.
Right. And you on?
I think probably very late. That's all I know.
In fact, my wife is a teacher. She teaches English at Balmoral School here at Shivaji Park.
Right.
And they've already started preparing for virtual classes. Every day, 3-4 hours, they are on the computer and doing that. Their estimate is nothing is going to move before September.
Oh, okay.
And what they say that it's also going to be a little too dangerous till the time you don't find a vaccine.
Right.
So parents are going to be skeptical. Teachers and the school staff is going to be skeptical.
Absolutely.
September. So first term, thank you. So everything happens after Diwali is what you guys are saying.
Right. Absolutely. I feel that's really insightful from your answer. So we have Alia back on. Alia, hey.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. So I'm sorry. I was throwing it back to Tisha's mom.
So I was talking about how well organized the SFA tournaments were. I went to with Tisha to the DY Patil Stadium. So what I was saying is that the stadium is huge. You tend to get lost. So the way it was organized, we could call up someone. They could help us get the directions, and it was very easy to find the location. The match was on time. We finished on time, and we could leave. So that was really amazing. And when the second time she went all on her own. I didn't even accompany her. She was able to easily find the location, her playing place. It happened to be the Kalina University, so it's a huge place. I mean, you can easily get lost. So that's one good thing. So it was they give you right directions, the timings are right. So I guess it's well organized in that sense.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just catching up. Did Ananya's mom answer this question? All right. So the same question to you, ma'am. Your experience at SFA.
Yeah, SFA gave a good platform for all kids, and they will come to know their capacity, how much they are when they play with other schools.
Right.
And the ending ceremony is very good, well organized.
Ending. Oh, the closing ceremony.
Yeah, ending ceremony is very good.
Yeah, it's the grand winner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I haven't asked this question actually, which is actually a very important question. I don't know how I missed it up. SFA is essentially an inter-school sporting extravaganza. So does this competition actually boil down to like students? Because I've seen some very competitive schools at SFA cheering for their squads. So do you guys actually have this whole thing where your school should get maximum goals and maximum points? Is that always a thing that you strive for? We'll start with Ishan.
Yes, obviously, because I want to see the people who are with me. I want to see them do the best. We all try to do our best so that we can improve the name of our school in this sport. Yeah.
So it is very competitive.
Yeah. Very competitive.
Anyone else wants to add anything? Tisha, Ananya, Johan?
I think the competitiveness gives us like an idea of the real world if we go and play other sports. Because when we used to cheer other teams on, they cheer us on. They're like, you can do it, you can win, don't lose.
That's true. Anyone else wants to add in?
So we strive to keep the reputation of our school because our school has always been winning and rarely losing to any teams.
That I'm witness to. I've seen that.
So my school, I actually have two boards. There's IG and ICSC. So in my board, there are not many players who play squash. So I didn't have much company, but many players from my academy cheered a lot, and I cheered for them.
Okay. Which is always a good experience. Before I move to the closing questions and we come to the end of this webinar, I just want to ask, any of you have any memories from SFA which you take back, like something small that happened, a friend you made, I don't know, you dropped Maggie on someone, I don't know, like your memories at SFA. Is there something that comes to mind?
Yes, like in the quarterfinals, semi-final, the finals of the SFA when we played in DY Patil Stadium.
Right.
That time, the other teams had decided that hit this fellow and only hit this fellow. Don't do anything to this guy. Only hit him.
Okay. Violent?
But then started me in the quarterfinal, semi-final, and final, I was only taking injuries. I was not doing anything else.
Oh God. You were targeted because you were good.
Maybe.
That's a lesson there. That's always going to happen in life.
Yeah.
Just got to get stronger. Isn't that right?
Yes. Completely right.
Fabulous. Okay, so closing questions, both to parents and to the athletes. Same question. Why is sport and playing a sport so important in an athlete, in a young person, in a child's life? Why is it so important? And we start with you, sir, Bimal sir.
Healthy body gives you a healthy mind, basically.
Fair point.
And sportsman spirit, never say die attitude, which help at these times.
Yep. Johan,
Gives a lot.
want to add to that?
You of many things. For example, not being overconfident. If you see a light team which is not so strong and you're like, you've already defeated them, you can be beaten by 4 goals because our team has once done that. We played against a club called FCB Scholar. It's near our school, it trains in our school. Defeated them by 1 to 2 goals. And then in another tournament, the same team came and bashed us up with 4 goals.
Never be overconfident.
Never be overconfident. That's a good lesson to take. I'm throwing this question to the other panelists. Ishan, feel free to chip in.
I believe that sports, obviously, it's very important. And I have seen so much change in Ishan, especially after he started swimming, karate. So, it teaches them discipline and teaches them to be organized. And most importantly, teaches them how to handle failures properly. That's what I believe. So I see Ishan that even if he doesn't win sometimes, he didn't perform well, then, he knows how to handle it and work harder and, improve next time. So I think that is the most important thing that all sports person, they have that attitude that, they know how to handle failures and setbacks and come back again.
That's a fact. Ishan?
Yeah. For me, it's just like it keeps your body fit and like it keeps your body in the best condition. So anything you do, it will make you anything you do with your body, you'll do it well. So like suppose you need to even if it's something as simple as, let's say, moving a table. Usually that would be a very hard task for some people. It's a heavy table. But like the more you train, the stronger you get, and then the stronger you get, it's easier to lift the table.
That's a fact.
Yeah, it's that, and also like exercise, it brings you happiness. Like at least to most people. So like you feel good the whole day.
I have so many enlightened athletes here. I'm feeling like I'm learning so much through this webinar. No, but that's so true. That is so true. I completely and 100% agree with you, Ishan, when you say that it opens up your body to doing things that you probably think you can't do, which is so true. We move to Ananya with the same question.
What I think sports does is, like as Ishan said, it keeps your body fit, but it keeps it fit for a longer time. So because as you grow older, you tend to get weaker, but when you exercise at least a little, your body will be a little stronger. I also think it keeps your mind fit. It keeps you up. For me, it kept me optimistic. It made me learn about myself. So I think playing sports is important for people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It builds confidence and competition
true.
in kids, and they will become well organized.
Keep you on your toes all the time.
Physically, they are fit.
Right.
Yeah. It helps a lot.
It does. And if I Tisha,
Yeah, so I think sports are very important. Like everyone said, it helps you keep physically and mentally fit. Because before I joined professional sports, I was really
Right.
plump actually. And yeah, and it really helped me become fit, physically and mentally fit.
Right.
Also, when you are in a sport, you can be disciplined, you can make new friends, and you learn not to be nervous or overconfident.
True. That's very well said, ma'am.
I think one of the reasons where I asked her to pick up a sport is like whatever level you reach, it always becomes a part of your hobby. So tomorrow, whatever you are doing and you want to kind of break from, you want to break, you want to chill, you want to do something which you like. Sport is something you can always go back to and pursue. That nobody's stopping you. So if today she were kind of pursuing her higher studies and today she wants to play squash, so through her university she can always go and play that sport. So this, I mean, it's like an extracurricular thing which becomes a part
True.
of their overall growth.
Personality development. I agree completely. With that, I think we've exceeded our time here and not realized it, which is a great thing. I would like to thank each and every panelist for their time and their input. It has been a pleasure talking to all the athletes and their parents because support is everything, and parents are doing that the best. I wish all of you the best. And before we close in, for all the viewers and the listeners, we will have another webinar because there is a series of webinars coming up. The next one will be on the importance of early nutrition for sports fitness. And this webinar will be on the 22nd of May, again 5 to 6 p.m. So you can register for this right now. And with that, we are closing this session. Before I actually go, I want all of you to please read out what's written on my t-shirt loud and clear. Parents and athletes, just read what's written on my t-shirt, okay? In 3, 2, are you guys ready?
Right.
Yeah? Read it loud and clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for your time, and thank you all the viewers and people who logged in for watching this webinar. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
All the best, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.